There goes, there goes.
Right. Good evening to all who joined us tonight. I call to order the regular council meeting of Township of Hamilton, November 14th, 2022, at 6:30 p.m. This meeting is being held with the benefit of public notice as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Madam Clerk, please call roll.
Mr. Ty?
Here.
Mr. Carabelli?
Here.
Mr. Reparo?
Here.
Mr. Whalen?
Here.
Ms. Phillips?
Here. Oh, my mic's on. Okay. Please rise for the flag salute. Remain standing for our invocation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we please remain standing for the invocation? Dear God, our source of protection and hope, guide our hearts and minds to be focused on the true meaning of this holiday season. Let us be thankful for the abundance of food, friendship, and family that we have in our life this Thanksgiving. And may we give back in some way our abundance to those in need. And always, may we as a township representative serve the community with dedication and equity for all. We make all of these intentions in your name. Amen.
Council President, the first item on the agenda this evening is the discussion of the 2022 best practices inventory. Ms. Monzo.
It's okay, take a moment. The best practices inventory, as you know, is an annual survey that needs to be filled out by various departments to answer questions that are best practices and core items that the state looks to make sure that, and a lot of them are financial questions, but there are some others too regarding policy and such. And you have to score a certain amount in order to maintain the state aid that we were expecting to get. We have again scored very well on the best practices inventory, and we work all year long to really try to make sure that we're going to meet the requirements of best practices. So there is a requirement that you, at the very least, see the inventory and have a discussion here at council. Sorry, it's my mom.
I think it's worth mentioning too. Our score was actually far and above the score that you would need to have any aid with help. I believe it was a score of 31. Does anybody from the council have any questions or comments?
I'll just say I was, I read over the inventory on the online platform. It was good to see that we, it's good that we received the money from the federal government, the rescue dollars, and that we has spent that money, correct? It looks like, and that was one of the questions that was asked for a variety of different programs, including helping some of our budget shortfalls. So that was something that I read over. I found out, that looked like it was a positive, and our score was, very high. So, I was excited to see that. Congratulations to your team and the mayor for that. So.
Keep up the good work.
Yeah, thanks.
So the administration
We
is
do
very
have a
helpful.
few goals to make sure that we'll answer, hopefully yes, for next year. One of them is updating of the employee handbook and the personnel policy manual. And so that is in the works, and we actually have a very rough draft coming. So you may see it this year, but it may not be until early next year that you see that coming before you, because we still want to get some feedback from departments and also from some of the collective bargaining units on those. And there's one other item too that I think was focused that we were going to have, and that was electric vehicle charging stations. There was a question on this year regarding the installation of that, and I believe that you even have something on your agenda.
Yeah.
So congratulations to all of you on that side of things too, so.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, is it just discussion from the council or?
You can certainly open up to the general public if you wish, Madam President.
Okay. At this time, if we have anyone from the public who has a question about the inventory or has a comment, you may come to the podium. Okay, seeing none. Is this an adoption? Is this one?
Well, how about we just do a motion to accept it?
Okay, have a motion to
Basically,
accept the 2022 best practices inventory.
I'll make the motion. I'll second that motion.
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Moving on to minutes, we have the October 3rd, 2022 regular council meeting minutes for your approval.
I'll move the minutes for October 3rd, 2022.
I'll second them.
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Moving on to communications, C1 is a joint commendation for heroism to Henry Roldan Jr.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have quite a few very, very significant and important honorees tonight. So this will be the first of a few, and I believe Vice President Whalen would like to read this one.
Sure, thank you, Council President. It's a commendation for heroism. Whereas it has come to the attention of the mayor and the Hamilton Township Council that Henry Roldan Jr. has exhibited exemplary conduct while off duty on Sunday, August 21st. And whereas Henry was alerted that his neighbor's home was on fire and he rushed to assist as his neighbor was exiting the home. And whereas Henry, without hesitation, immediately entered a fully involved home to confirm that it was clear of any people or pets that could have possibly been in the home. And whereas his actions averted what could have been a tragic loss to family, friends, and the community, was an act which deserves special recognition of the citizens of our community and the officials of the Township of Hamilton. Therefore, be it resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Council of Hamilton Township and the County of Mercer and the State of New Jersey, that the sincere appreciation be and hereby is extended on this occasion to Henry Roldan Jr., who gave selfishly of himself for the welfare of others. And be it further resolved by the best wishes are hereby extended Henry Roldan Jr. for exemplary conduct and outstanding performance in emergency, and best wishes of all future endeavors.
Thank you, Vice President Whalen.
Henry.
Is he, do we have Henry here tonight?
Come on up, Henry. Do I have the?
Yes.
Yes, I do. Congratulations. Congratulations. There you go.
Council President, the next item,
Hold on one second. I just wanted to invite Chief Tazi. Did you want to say any words before you go?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for everything this council has done for the fire department, the mayor, the DA, and Ms. Traeger. It's an absolute honor. Henry is exemplary of 135 firefighters that fight for you each day, keep us safe for 96,000 residents plus visitors. So you taking the time out today, you and the mayor, to recognize Henry for his actions off duty means a lot to us. So thank you. It's our honor. Thank you very much.
Yeah, that's right.
I know we.
Yeah,
Yes.
of course.
Council President, the next item on the agenda is a joint commendation for various individuals for a life-saving event.
Okay. This commendation will be read by Councilman Tai, and for those in the room, just personally, I remember when this happened, and I thank you all personally, and then maybe I'll say my comments for after, but go ahead.
Is Mr. Dosus here? I wanted to make sure I was saying your name properly if you were here. All right. Well, whereas it has come to the attention of the mayor and the Hamilton Township Council. Too close? All right. We okay now? All right. I'm not going to blow out the speakers. Okay. I have a lot of enthusiasm for this particular, so whereas it has come to the attention of the mayor and the Hamilton Township Council that congratulations and citations are in order for all the individuals who took part in saving the life of Vincent Dosus on September 21st, 2022, and whereas Mr. Dosus's vehicle had struck a tree and become engulfed in flames, and whereas these heroic area residents heard the crash and went into action to pull Mr. Dosus from his burning vehicle and to safety prior to the arrival of the professional medical help of Capitol Health, Robert Wood Johnson University Hospital of Hamilton, and the Hamilton Fire Division, and whereas their actions averted what could have been a tragic loss to family, friends, and community, was an act which deserves special recognition of the citizens of our community and the officials of the Township of Hamilton, and therefore be it resolved by Mayor Jeffrey F. Martin and this Council of the Township of Hamilton in the County of Mercer and State of New Jersey, that sincere appreciation be and hereby is extended on this occasion to all of these individuals who gave selflessly of themselves for the welfare of another. Christopher Rodkey, Bob Aliglo, Sita Aliglo, John Talarowski, Nicole McCallis, Austin Lee, Derek Wilcox, Mark Grenier, and Joseph Turek, and be it further resolved that best wishes are hereby extended to the rescuers in all future endeavors.
Could we invite you also to?
It's going to be a big group.
I just want to invite you. Did you see the picture?
Was that names?
Robert Wolf. Yeah, Robert Wolf. Where's Robert Wolf? He's a retired cop. Is Mr. Wolf?
His name's on it.
I couldn't get up.
I'm good. Right in my place. We missed the name, we need to amend that.
Oh,
Mr. Wall.
he's on here. He's there.
Did I not read his name?
He's not on your copy.
Oh,
Okay, so Bob?
Oh, no.
And couldn't make it.
Okay.
They couldn't make it. And second?
Yes.
Margaret and
Here you are. Austin Lee. Sorry. Nicole also, yes. Christopher? Yeah, thank you. John? You again? Justin? Derek? Thank you so much for all you did. And Robert? Thank you.
I got some wins on Thursday for Thanksgiving. Take one last picture with everybody. Pretty smile.
thank you so much.
Ready? Here we go. Good.
Thank you all, thank you
Does
everybody.
anybody want to do individual, picture with council? With who that you like?
You want the picture? You want?
You guys in the back.
Anthony, we need you for one picture. Practice on Thursday.
Here we go. One more. Very good, thank you.
I didn't just notice. So I'd rather just stay from
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right, anything else?
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you for, thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you for your service, guys.
He's a Marine.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I watched us talk.
We don't know what all that is.
It's here.
Oh.
It's a bomb. What you say?
I know.
Jason's over my head.
I know.
Sorry.
Allison, we have an extra envelope
I'm going out.
folder, if anyone,
Sorry, don't worry so much. Oh, you can put that.
Oh, you know what?
Saturday.
We have no wood in this side.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you.
Sorry, he's small.
Who's this?
You're a good guy.
Let me tell my question. Hi, guys.
So we're looking after a few calls. That was really nice.
Was it three good elections or county?
You'll major.
Okay.
Where'd everybody go?
maybe a night.
We're getting down. Council.
Now it looks more like a council meeting.
The next item under communications is C1, which is a joint commendation for Small Business Saturday in Hamilton.
Councilman Carabelli?
Yes. Recognition of Small Business Saturday. Whereas the small locally owned businesses of Hamilton Township are vital to our own town's economic health. And whereas locally owned businesses contribute to our unique and vibrant community character. And whereas the U.S. Small Business Administration states that small businesses create 65% of net new local jobs. And whereas with every $100 spent at a small local retailer, 68 will return to the community through taxes, payroll, and donations to local schools and charities. And whereas public awareness of the contributions made by Hamilton Township local businesses is the key to sustaining a healthy business climate. And whereas the people of Hamilton are grateful to small, locally owned businesses of our town for their generous contribution to the quality of life we all enjoy. And whereas we join the U.S. Chamber and other local chambers of commerce in supporting America's locally owned small businesses. Now therefore be it resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Hamilton Township Council do hereby proclaim November 26, 2022 as Small Business Saturday in Hamilton Township and urge all Hamiltonians to join the rest of America and do a portion of their holiday shopping at small locally owned businesses.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'm not going to tell my wife that. I know I did.
Item C4 is a joint proclamation for Communities of Light, sponsored by Women's Space.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Resolution of support for the 21st Annual Communities of Light sponsored by Women's Space. Whereas it is the policy of Hamilton Township to recognize organizations that have contributed to the overall benefit of the community. And whereas Women's Space, founded in 1977, has demonstrated a unique ability to provide comfort, support services, crisis intervention, and safety to women who are victims of sexual assault and domestic violence. And whereas Women's Space, in the belief that peace begins at home, has asked the Mercer County community to join them in their struggle against violence by participating in their annual Communities of Light project. Whereas Women's Space has provided emergency shelter in secure locations and comprehensive services for victims of domestic violence since 1977 and sexual assault since 2002 for women, children, and men. Additionally, Women's Space has assisted hundreds of thousands of callers over the last 45 years. And whereas Hamilton Township commends Women's Space for their efforts to bring an end to the cycle of interpersonal violence imposed on women, children, and men. And whereas, as the Council of the Township of Hamilton, we urge that each and every household demonstrate their support of the concept that, quote, peace begins at home, unquote, by placing luminaries along their driveways and sidewalks on Monday, December 5th, 2022, as a visible symbol of that support. And whereas the proceeds from Communities of Light 2022 will be used to fund vital services for victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. Now, therefore, be it resolved by Mayor Jeffrey S. Martin and the Council of the Township of Hamilton and the County of Mercer and the State of New Jersey does hereby, bless you, declare and affirm that December 5th, 2022 as Communities of Light Day, and hereby honor Women's Space on its many accomplishments with their continued success with Communities of Light in the years to come.
Item C5 is a receipt of documentation to amend alcoholic beverage control license on file known as 1103-32-022-008 SAI ASP Inc. Trading as Wine Republic. This is for the extension of the license to an executor. So I would need a motion for those communications if you would please.
One motion for everything?
I was actually thinking if you want to do one for the accommodations and then separate the ABC one.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll make a motion for communications 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
Madam? Okay, 1 through 4.
Thank you, Councilman.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
A motion for C5, if you would, please.
Council President, I move Communications C5.
I got a question.
Mhm.
C5, it shows up again under consent agenda. Do you know that?
No, that's the person-to-person transfer
Okay.
of the license
But the same-
thereafter.
Okay,
The same
okay.
license,
All right,
yes.
just want to make sure.
One of the owners passed.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second the motion.
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. On the consent agenda items, you have items CA1 through CA32 for your consideration. Should be noted that CA15 was removed from the agenda.
Okay. I'm going to defer to my vice president just for some notes and highlights and, let's see, that's about notes on you right now.
No problem, Council President. On the consent agenda, we'll just go over a few of these. CA1 and through CA3, there appear to be affordable housing grants. CA4 is another authorized execution for grant funding for the Hamilton Animal Shelter Improvement Project for $100,000. CA5 is authorizing transfers for the calendar year municipal budget of $626,132.19. That's the last 2 months of the fiscal year for budget appropriations. Another one to take notice of is CA7, which is we're going to establish a contract to install dual-port electric vehicle charging stations at the Mayo Field in the parking lot. That's through the Division of Parks and Recreation. That's $27,431 maximum. CA8 is the one we just did. That's a transfer for beverage license. CA10 is it? CA10 is we're adding a vendor, Joel Electric, to our contract vendors list. C13 is fire. C14, T&M Associates Engineering Service for East State Street Extension. That's road improvements. Part of that budget transfers, am I correct, Kathy, is this, which we talked about was probably 400,000 plus or minus. These are anticipation of vehicle maintenance issues that we had this year, along with the rising cost of fuel costs, so we had to make some appropriations there. C16 is South Broad Street's $50,000 increase to road improvements, if I'm not mistaken. We also have improvements over on East State Street, T&M Associates. This looks like work for next year, which looks like, if I've got my notes right, was for sidewalks and curbs, if I'm not mistaken. And the rest of the stuff is a lot of refunds. Most of them are refunds for use of our facilities at different locations. We have refunds for inspections, construction permits, some different ceremonies that took place that didn't happen, so we had to refund these people. Sewer tax overpayment refunds, and that is about it. CA32, that was added on, right? CA32, resolution approving change order for a contract for purchase of a single engine sewer cleaner with jetback. That was a $58,000 increase. What, could you explain that a little bit? Because I kind of looked at that and was wondering if the original quote was like $437,000 plus.
$447,000, correct, but you already approved that. And so what we're experiencing because of inflation is all of these even smaller purchases, but as we saw with utilities and as we've seen with so many other commodities, the equipment and vehicles that we're going to purchase, if they're not under a state contract and of that nature, right, their quotes are going up. And so, and we're seeing approximately a 12 to 15% increase right off the bat. And so,
Thank you.
this is a very large machine. It's a jet vac. It's actually the second one we're purchasing, and we're using the first 450,000 was through our ARP funds. And so for this increase that we're going back to a capital expenditure that we can do the additional amounts because we didn't want to expend more out of ARP funds. We've already accounted for most of those. So, but we're seeing an increase. So in this case, if you look at the quotes side by side, right, the chassis was 15% more, and then all of the other components that go into it vary between, 12 and 15% more. So, we want to make sure that we're still doing it in a timely manner because we don't even know if it's going to go up further. So, these take quite some time to get in when you have the bigger machines.
Once we do put an order in like this for an expenditure like we're seeing here, once you sign a contract, is that contract locked in?
Yes, once you approve that, and what's happening also and what we've seen just since all the inflation has started and we have all these prices going up, is that they used to get a quote for a big piece of machinery or a vehicle or something like that, and it would be good for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days in some cases, right, where the quote would last, and so it would give you time to come back to council and or go through a process to have that approved. But now they're giving you a quote and telling you it's good for a week, and so others. So we've been trying to kind of extend that with some of these vendors, and that's what happened in particular with this one. The original quote expired in a very short period of time, and they reserved the right to kind of up that quote. And, you can see what's going on. I mean, their costs are higher too, so they're just really passing those on to us.
And I think you're seeing that typically through all industry. I know in the field that I work in, you see the same thing. The price of materials are going up on a weekly basis where lots of times they'd be locked in for 90 days.
Right.
They're seeing changes in prices weekly.
Yep. So.
I guess my only follow-up question to that would be, Kathy, is this additional cost for this equipment, for this vehicle, if we went out to bid, it would still be much higher than that. That's why we're remaining with the contracted vendor.
I think so, if you could even get them to bid.
Okay.
And if we got the bids, then they would end up being, probably much higher.
Much higher.
These are still contracted, so, and even when we have contracts for things like roads and all of that, we'll get a change order that comes in, right, because they had higher material costs or things like that. So far, we haven't seen anything that's risen so crazy above that. I think this ended up being like, I don't know, it's less than 10% of the entire, cost of the machine. So, we're trying to keep an eye on that just to make sure that we're not bringing you change orders and things like that are so far over just because of inflation.
And we've seen that from time to time on different contracts. I mean, we have one here at C22, which is roof replacements over at water pollution control. So, these prices, you see from time to time, especially once they remove the old roof, that they see other conditions that exist that they didn't see prior to.
Right, that's what happened in this case.
Just on the first three there on the consent agenda, just from an affordable housing, fair share housing plan standpoint, was this part of the projects that we were talked about in that plan?
Yes.
Okay.
So they're included in that plan, and almost everything that we do for that, we bring to you, it was included.
Because I didn't get a chance to take a second look at the plan. No, I think they're worthwhile projects. That's a good use of our affordable housing dollars. I liked hearing about the DC application. I mean, we have a fairly good shot at that one. Is this a new grant application that we actually went after with DCA?
Yes, this one's new, this is the one for the generator.
For the generator for the animal shelter, yeah.
So hopefully we'll be able to do that, you know, after that, we get awarded that, after that, it's the, again, going through the process, and hopefully, it won't be a long wait to get a generator, but we've gotten word that some, just for a particular type of generator, not for this one in particular, but, they're 52 weeks out.
Okay.
So we're talking an entire year before we can get delivery of some of these things, so we're trying to stay on top of it as best we can.
Excellent. And did we, Alyssa, this is a question for you, I'm sorry. Did we pull the Van Horn Park one off the agenda? Is it?
Yeah,
Which one was that?
it is in here, I didn't mention it.
I just wanted to mention, I just wanted to, it's additional funding in the amount of,
13.
yeah, CA 13, okay, 13, yeah. So, for that project there, what is left to be done? I mean, are we sort of late at the end of the tunnel? Okay, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
we've been working with the EPA and the mayor and so forth. Fill needs to still be, the fill that was improperly, that's still what is supposed to come out. And then in the springtime, we need to plant,
Trees.
trees and other foliage. Obviously, we're beyond the planting season now, we're almost into December.
Yeah, right.
So there's still stuff to be done, and we're working with the DP though, so they're overseeing everything.
So this additional cost will help us to, is it environmental services, correct? I mean, so it's strictly for,
It's for overseeing, and they're the experts, and so when we bring in someone to bring in the bill, they oversee it, make sure it's done correctly.
they monitor it, okay, okay.
And they're reporting back to DEP.
Correct.
I just can't wait for this one, so I'm sure you hold the same sentiment, but, yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, at this time, you can open to public comment. If you have any questions or comments on strictly the consent agenda items, so it'd be CA1 through CA32, you may come to the podium. Well,
Janice Sonic, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Now, is this, number one, CA1, is this in Cornell Heights?
No,
No?
this is on, Blue Devil Lane.
Well, there's one on
Oh, the
Princeton.
433 Princeton, I'm sorry, yes, the 433 Princeton is,
Because I had heard there might be a home, I wasn't sure. I know we have one in Laura and Evelyn,
right.
but I didn't know about this one, so that's.
I'm thinking my neighborhood, that's why I saw Blue Devil. Right.
Okay, then the other one is the CA14. What part of East State Street Extension is being fixed?
That is,
But East State Street Extension down by Lady Star Church End, right? Or does that go all the way up past Nottingham Way?
Let me see
this
exactly.
way? Of course, East State Street Extension goes across Nottingham Way twice, but
This was,
Let me get a little more
State Street
detail.
Extension.
We're pulling it up.
Yeah. State
There's not a map here, though.
No, I know, but usually it gives you,
Parameters.
yeah.
so at the end from Glockner to Nottingham towards 5 Points seems pretty good.
New proposals. I don't know why it's not showing the exact location.
That's a good question.
This sort of design.
Stump us.
Yeah, no, it's a good question.
Yeah, you did start us. I mean, this was just
There's
a,
a picture.
yeah, this was
I
just,
need to take this picture. Everybody's so intent on it.
No.
This is for the design.
yes, yeah, this is
And
just,
it's not
yeah.
on one side of the street or the other. This is for the
Right.
design of East State Street Extension.
Design of it. But it's already there and.
And probably design the areas in need of repair.
Yeah, it's for the improvements.
So
It
I'll
says
get a better answer
Yeah.
for you.
Coastal
I'll
extension for road.
Mhm.
Because I mean, guys, you know, I always do East State Street from, Klockner towards 5 Points, and that's perfect shape. You know, and coming here to the council, this direction is in good shape. Something in what part goes after that? It goes into, just by East State Street. Doesn't it after it
But are
gets
there not?
Yeah, it's almost like, I think it was CA 16 where it showed South Broad Street. It was between Whaler and Maple
Maple
Shade.
Shade.
So it gave you a little bit of,
I thought that was East State Street just playing up there,
yeah.
and we were the extension down this end.
Kathy, if,
I'll find out and I'll let you all know.
Okay.
Good question.
Sure, there's this
Okay.
development going on.
Well, thank you.
on the street, so you could-
That's it.
You always have good questions.
I'm not sure.
There's other development going on that street. They could be, changing the design or the format of the street.
Or isn't there a sweat like parachute down that way too? Or the East State Street?
Parachute is, yes.
State Street
they're doing-
extension?
They're doing addition on the, so the parachute
Yes,
right
there
now.
could be a traffic plan or something.
Right.
Okay.
No,
But I
we-
just thought further down that end was just plain East State Street.
That's not East State,
Just curious.
is it?
Walnut.
It's Walnut.
Or the wall.
Well, it depends, borders, but I think it borders both if I trying to visualize it.
Okay, give you something to think about. That's your
Thank
homework.
you. That's a good
That's our
question.
homework.
That's a good question. Yeah.
Okay, Janice?
Yes, that's a good question.
Still assigning homework. I'll take a homework pass on that one. Do we have any other comments or questions on the consent agenda? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to close public comment and move on items CA1 through CA32 with the removal of CA15?
I'll close the public portion and move on CA 1 through CA 32 with the omittance of CA 15, which was removed.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Consent agenda passes 5-0. Moving on to ordinances, the following are second reading and public hearing. Ordinance 1 is 22-045, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is to repeal a space established at 35 Annabelle Avenue by ordinance number 19-037.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Any questions or comments from council?
Nope.
Any from the public? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
Madam President, seeing no members of the public wishing to comment, I move that we close the public comment portion and move ordinance 22-045 on second reading.
Thank you.
Second motion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 2 is 22-046, an ordinance amending and supplementing the code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 550, Land Development, Article 3, District Regulations, Section 550-96. This is for mixed-use overlay 1.
And this is on Klockner,
Yes.
between Cruiser and 130.
Is this correct? If I'm correct, like the Genesis area, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
just beyond the 195 overpass.
Okay. Do you have any questions? Okay. All right, at this time, we can open up public comment for ordinance 2, 22-046. Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the public comment portion and adopt, ordinance, what's number 2? I'm sorry.
22-046.
22-046. On second reading.
Thank you. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. The following ordinances are first reading and introduction. Ordinance 1 is 22-047, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 485, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is repealing spaces established at 23 Samuel Street by ordinance number 16-058, and at 1413 Hamilton Avenue by ordinance number 16-044.
Thank you. Do I have a motion for introduction and first reading?
I'll make a motion on first reading and introduction to ordinance number 22-047.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 2 is 22-048, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Chapter 45, Vehicles and Traffic, Article 2, Parking, Section 485-19, Handicap Parking. This is establishing a space for 235 Woodlawn Avenue.
I'm sorry.
Council President, I'll make a motion to move on first reading 22-048.
I'll second that.
Thank you. Madam Clerk?
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
Yes.
Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Ordinance 3 is 22-049, an ordinance amending and supplementing the Code of the Township of Hamilton, New Jersey, Part 2, General Legislation, Chapter 153, Cannabis and Medical Cannabis, Section 153-11, Maximum Number of Permits.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to introduce ordinance 22049 on first reading.
I'll second it.
Madam Clerk?
On the motion, Mr. Ty?
I'm going to abstain due to my position with the New Jersey Economic Development Authority.
So noted. Mr. Carabelli?
Yes.
Mr. Reparo?
Yes.
Mr. Whalen?
Yes.
Ms. Phillips?
Yes.
Passes 4-0. That concludes the formal agenda. Council President?
Thank you, Madam Clerk. At this time, we'll open up to public comment. We'll go from the list first, which is blank. So first.
No.
If anyone would like to come to the podium to speak, we do follow Robert's rules of 4 minutes and your first time at the podium, and then you can come back up for 2 after anyone who's wanted to come up first time has had a chance. So if you would like to come to the podium, please come and state your name and address also.
How you doing? Richard Fletcher, 24 Orchard Avenue, Pennington, New Jersey. So I'm not from Hamilton, but I want to thank you all, number one, for giving a proclamation out to the citizens that saved that man's life. I know him personally. I didn't know you were going to do that tonight. I just walked in on another issue. But that gentleman's the nicest guy out there. He works at a McDonald's locally. And he's got skin grafts. He won't be back for a while now because of his treatment and stuff. But I just wanted to thank you on that. The reason I'm here is because I don't volunteer. I guess they pay me for the county to do the polling place. Twice now, June, and just last week, I was at Groveville Fire Company. My father had knee surgery. My father was put in a wheelchair because the surgery went totally wrong for the rest of his life. People in a wheelchair normally will not speak to say something is wrong. At Groveville Fire Company, you have a plastic ramp that sits above the curb. I had a person flip off it in June. I wrote it up to the county, asked them to do something about it. Nothing's been done. I'm sure it wasn't brought to you guys because every one of you were voted on to get this position. To me, it's discrimination. Handicapped people cannot get to the polling place. There is another cutout all the way around. We go in this door here, but all the way around by the bays. But even people in wheelchairs says it's very unsafe, it's very steep and stuff like that. So maybe look at putting a cutout by the polling place doors and marking the spots handicap so that handicapped people can get out to vote also. That's why I'm here, because the county dropped the ball and did not come here again. We wrote it up as an ADA problem again. Okay?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that to our
I would
attention.
appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Mr. Fletcher, just one quick question. Are there handicap parking spaces there now or no? None at all?
None where we vote at all, maybe out front,
Okay.
but that's way away from, I had one person park over on the far end, carried his wife out of the car to get her to the sidewalk and put her in the wheelchair.
Okay, that shouldn't happen.
Okay, so being that my father was in a wheelchair, I understand it. I'm at ShopRite up in Pennington all the time. I call the manager out when the cart boy puts the carts back through the cutout there. You and me can walk over a curb. Handicapped person cannot get in there without going through that cutout. I tell the manager that's an ADA compliant, and if you don't bring it up to their attention, they'll keep doing it. And new cart guys do it all the time at these stores. So it's important. Like I say, most handicapped people are embarrassed in a way. They will not say stuff. So it's, that's why I'll be a voice for them, because it's not fair that they cannot go shopping, they cannot come out and vote.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Thank you.
Janice? Okay, Janice Klein, 432 Trinity Avenue, Cornell Heights. Okay, first I want to thank Rick for calling me because I had no idea the meeting had changed. Of course, much to your chagrin, I showed up. But I mean, I think I like getting a call at 4:45. Did you know the meeting had changed? What? No, okay. So here I am. I was pleased to see most of the voting signs are gone, except like this Healy, I had one in my neighborhood and along Sweetbriar. Now, I was gonna take the one down that was in front of my house on the empty lot, but I didn't know if that was I'm not him, so I don't know if I could do that, or are they responsible for getting rid of their signs?
They're responsible
because there were so many signs and they really got taken away quite well. The other thing was, we had our district changed, our voting district changed. We were at Clockner School for 50 years. All right? There was no big announcement that the place moved. All right? So we get the voting pack. There's a little red box with writing so small you need a magnifying glass, with arrows going down in a wheelchair. I just assumed it was for handicapped people. I looked down at the district, yep, that's me. No, your voting place was changed. That's how small they wrote it, to tell you that the voting place was changed. Now, I would think something major like that, it should have been a big hoopla. Well, I thought maybe it should have been a robocall from the township, or a postcard goes out to people that, hey, your voting district got changed. And so I passed the word around, and a lot of people had no clue where Christine Avenue was. And here, of course, was the road alongside Clockner School, but you didn't think about that. You know, Clockner School's at Clockner Road, you just turn on that side street. And so they did not put a sign at Clockner School to say that it had been changed. And then when you wander all the way down to the VFW hall, it's way off the road. And I would have thought Mercer County would have had a big sign in the voting area since it's a new voting area. Nothing. I mean, it was just, a lot of people had no clue. We were calling everybody, hey, you gotta go vote. Where's this place? Well, I don't know. And then, I mean, it's way off the road. There should have been a sign there. And the only other way is in Nottingham way next to Cooker Haney, which nobody knows about that entrance either. So I just think that, I was gonna give them a call and voice my opinion, but I figured you'd have more pull than I do. Plus with all this hoopla with the voting machines going down, I figured they're still, because they have not heard any results yet, so I figured I won't call until all that is settled. But I figured, well, maybe you can put the word in that, hey, if you're changing voting areas, it would be nice to put a big sign, let people know. I mean, for 50 years you've been into the school, and all of a sudden it changes. I said that it was so little, it should have been real big, new voting spot. Instead it's so little, you just look at it and see a wheelchair, oh, they're talking about handicapped people or something or other. But, it was totally unbelievable. So that needs to be fixed. Mercer County screwed up there too.
Janice, what district are you?
52.
Didn't 52 used to vote in Enterprise Firehouse?
The whole Enterprise Firehouse, yeah. Oh, well, we voted in Enterprise for the public, and then we voted in Clockner School for the school board. We had two different places to vote, which was really good. And then Enterprise closed, and we just stayed at Clockner after that. But, yeah, we always were a good old Enterprise, yes.
Council
So,
President, the county is required to notify a change of a voting, polling location, which occurred earlier in the year '22. So the county, by law, had to send out, even if it's just a postcard advising them. So I'm sure that they did, but a lot of people just kind of missed that.
yeah, no, because my sister said there was a little minute article in the paper, I thought it would have been a big article or something, the business got changed. So, if she didn't tell me, I would have really never realized it.
And Allison actually sent signs to those polling locations where there were changes. They were posted on the doors, so we could try to redirect the residents.
And I only know that because I did drive by and Clockner had them on 3 different doors.
Oh, did they? Okay. But I thought it would
Allison,
be
you-
a sign out front, you know?
County doesn't provide us.
No.
You're talking about those 8.5 by 11 pieces of paper they had on the door?
They've had them on 3 different doors.
So I spent election day due to the issues at the polls, visiting polling places the entire day. And one of the things that occurred to me at all the polling places is signage, directing voters where to go in these buildings. Because I was visiting a lot of the polling places for the first time. I didn't know what door to walk into. I would wind up doing an entire lap around the building.
Right.
And if you are handicapped and there's no signs directing you, or I accidentally went to Clockner, because even though you told me, I still forgot and went there. And 3 different voters came up during the time I was standing in front of the building trying to remember where the polling place was to vote. And so, you know, I know that in some towns, they have great signage in front of their polling places, and for some reason, we don't do that, and I think it's something we need to take a look at.
All that information was supplied by the county.
Yeah, we have to bring to the county.
You can come up
It's
and talk.
basically the county's election.
Yep.
I mean, they are charged with the election.
Right, but that doesn't mean we can't put signs up in front of our properties where people vote.
We do have signs, and each board worker, I believe there's at least 3 signs that says vote here, and they are required to hang the US flag above the doorway of the entrance to the building for the polling location. A lot of people don't know that, though. It's, you know, they see it, you know, but they're supposed to have the flag above the door of the entrance, or very close to it.
Maybe we can use our social media pages to put out some of this information to, you know, for future years, or we have a whole year to.
We'll see what
Get it
happens
right.
next year.
Get it right.
And like I said, the figure that the building was so far off the road, you thought there would have been a sign there, you know, this is the driveway you turn into, you know, and so I figured you guys have clout, you know, you could say. I mean, I will call them
We'll
later,
try,
you know,
yes, we'll definitely bring it up,
you know, but coming from the township is more than just a.
Yeah, thank you, Janice.
Thank you.
If I could ask you to just have a seat for now, then we'll invite you back up for 2 more
Okay,
minutes.
will do.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, if you
George
just state your name and address.
Zichka, 10 Florence Street.
I'm sorry,
So-
what's your first name?
George.
George?
So an easy solution to the voting is to vote early. I did that at the Mercer County Library, and it worked great. I like to try to prevent problems, solve problems. Signage should be improved, not talk about it, just do it, put up more signs. I worked the polls, University Heights was good, but a lot of our schools have like 25 doors. So how do you know which door is the correct door? So even in the parking lot for the board workers, the parking lot was inaccessible. There were cones there, like somebody's gonna camp out overnight. People do sleep in the Mercer County Library parking lot, which is a disgrace, an elderly couple. I told the police nobody's doing it. They won't accept help apparently, but it's not good, it's getting colder. So if somebody here wants to take action, I like to solve problems, not just talk about them. So, what else? Oh, it seems we have more car crashes than ever now. Who's tracking the numbers? The county sheriff, the Hamilton Police Department?
National Transportation Safety Board,
Can't we go more local? Shouldn't we?
state police,
Okay, can we go more local than them?
to keep track of the
Yes,
number?
to try to prevent these, like, this guy almost burned to death, and it was a single car crash, I believe. Brand new vehicle, total. I'll never have a car that fancy. And he, sounds like he was just speeding, ran off the road or something. Sounds very suspicious, engulfed in flames. Brand new 2022 Pilot. I'll never buy a car that expensive, I don't believe in it. So let's prevent these crashes. It's great that these people saved the person's life, but wouldn't it be better to prevent that altogether? For everyone, except maybe the insurance companies and the tow truck drivers. So who can keep track of like countywide crashes and causes of the crashes? A lot of these are by speeding. Someone was run over in my neighborhood on Park Avenue by Wilson School. Kids have to see this going to school because someone's selfish and speeding most likely around a curve. I go through that intersection about 5 times a week on my way home from work. I don't do stuff like that. Like I abide by the rules. I stop the stop sign. I look both ways several times. Well, why are these people driving with no regard for safety or the law? And it seems like nobody's doing anything about it. We just, oh, so sad, we'll give you thoughts and prayers. Well, thoughts and prayers don't help you when you're burned, and they don't bring you back to life if you're dead. So what are we doing to prevent these traffic problems? And who's going to take responsibility for counting them? State police are great, but it's a big state. Why don't we focus on Hamilton or Mercer County?
Well, like, for example, we just allocated some money to make improvements to East State Street, so we are regularly, on the suggestion of Public Works, on the suggestion of the Hamilton Township Police Department, making improvements to our roads. So it's not as if we're not making an ongoing effort to improve public safety.
What about the drivers on the way they navigate those roads?
We definitely handle a lot of that and locally as well with our police department.
Can we see some numbers? They should have increased incidents, tickets given for this. Driving's gotten worse. So tickets should be going up
Whenever we
too.
get a complaint about a particular area of speeding, and we get them often, they address it each time.
How about
So,
Paxton Avenue?
I could go back and look to see if we've ever had any complaints on Paxton.
No, there are many on next door. You'll find them.
So that's great, and we'll look at that and see, and I can tell you exactly what the police department has done to address that, because they have a whole protocol that they go through to try to, address when we get complaints in a particular area, and it's usually not one complaint, right? It takes quite a few complaints before.
White Horse Mercer Road has had fatalities even. A woman died Halloween night there. So there's your numbers.
So I think that there are things being done. A lot of it comes down to, as you say, right, the driver.
Well, enforcement of the law stuff. The driver's gonna do what they want, but especially if we don't enforce the law.
So I've seen instances where we've had, a complaint in this particular area. We've had people come to council meetings, and council has directed us to go back, and our police department has put officers out there and will tell us, come back and report to us how many summonses they issued and what the worst speeder was and what the average was and all of that. So they have the numbers and the statistics on areas where they've gone out to address. And without a doubt, almost every single time they tell us that 2 weeks later, right, it's back to doing the same thing that was happening before, because they can't be everywhere.
What's the plan to counteract that?
Well, sir, if I could ask you just to come back up for your 2 minutes, have a seat for now.
Sure.
So I think there's other things we could share with you that we've done in town to reduce speeds on certain roads. Do we have anyone else who would like to come to the podium? Okay, going in order, Mr. Fletcher, did you have anything else?
Just want to say, at the polling place, Groveville Fire Company, there was no signs there either. We had 4 districts this time, where before we only had 3 districts in June. We have to make a sign out out of a piece of paper to put in front of our table of what district it is. The county gave us no other signs. The only way people know what door to go in, I put the American flag out front, right out in front of that door, with a brick, otherwise it'll blow over. But otherwise, they give us no signs to put out there. So.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for something.
Janice?
I understand last meeting, you were talking about Congolium, about an overlay, the purpose of an next overlay, about housing and everything on the Congolium site. That was in the paper about Did that happen?
Are you sure that's the plan? Some time ago, how long ago now? A year ago? We passed,
But it says it was introduced on the 10/22, and then I assume it was voted on.
That went to the zoning board, didn't it?
There was an application to.
There was an application in front of the zoning board recently that was approved.
But it said that you had introduced it, on the first reading, and so I was just wondering.
No, it was passed, we only have the overlay was passed.
Oh, the overlays that they can have built up, like the crossings, buildings like the crossings has?
we didn't vote on a specific proposal.
But
What-
according to that, it's how far apart the buildings are and this, that, the other thing, and.
That's zoning, right?
Use my magnifier on the phone.
It's pretty small print.
Very
I know it is, I mean,
How do you read that, Janice?
I went to my check out, they hadn't changed off for 1 year, okay?
Yeah, this was for the mixed-use overlay, and it was introduced on the 18th, October 18th.
So it's not a specific proposal, it's the,
It's specific.
And specific for,
It's like an overall view of what that could be put there now. And it was all about these buildings and how far apart the buildings can be, or could be two family, one family, and.
so it was residential?
but that was at zoning.
Okay, because it had,
No, that's.
council, said like the council, the council, by
No, this is RD Research Development Zone, so this
Yeah,
is
this is not
is
Conway.
Conway.
Yeah, this isn't Conway. This is the area that we're talking about near Genesis over on Klockner.
Oh, that's not Convoy?
No.
Oh, okay.
All already passed a long time ago. There's litigation that's still ongoing, but the developer has sued us, has also submitted an application to the zoning board, which has been. So we need to right now, it's on the state, and they.
voted in favor of the plan.
Yes.
Right here, so.
They approved that.
Yeah, it's Klockner Road.
Tractor trailer.
Yeah.
Where at?
Whatever the,
Yeah, and then I saw this, oh no, when I have houses, who's gonna build a house with all those tractor trailers there? Okay,
It's all good.
okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, sir.
George, would you like to come back? Okay, I just want to address some of your concerns as well, because we've been made very aware, especially in and it's not unique to Hamilton. I teach in South Brunswick, and I get a nickel type twice a day of Route 1 being shut down, 130 being shut down. It's been scary, but we have, some of the things that we've done is we're working with the county in some of the wider roads, such as Edinburgh. I live near there. There was a family that was hit last year. So it's that widened part. I don't know if you know, some of the roads they're adding the bike lanes, which kind of changes the illusion of like a wide road. It does seem to be helping us. I know on Cruiser, they noticed a significant difference once they put the bike lanes in. But that's just one idea. But we have to work with the state and the county. It's not just local roads.
What I see is it's mostly selfish
If
driving.
you're talking, you gotta come to the microphone,
Oh,
because it has to be recorded. I have a question for you, if you can step back up. You went from subject to subject quick.
Yes.
So, you were talking about a homeless couple?
Yeah, they're probably in the Hamilton Township Library now, in the parking
Where
lot.
do they live?
No,
They live in their car, a white.
You said at
Lawrence.
Lawrence, the Lawrence Library?
No, I meant Hamilton, sorry.
Oh.
Yeah, they're right here. I told the police, but nothing happened. I gave them names, phone, license plate.
What kind of car was it?
It's a Honda Accord, white Honda Accord. It's falling apart, you'll see.
oh, I've seen it. I
There you
know
go.
what you're talking.
Everybody, so many people know and nobody does anything about it. I know they won't accept help, so it's not just that people are, like apathetic or cruel. But yeah, I don't even know if anything can be done for them, but I tell everyone I can, you guys have power in this town. It's better to tell you than to just tell my friends that I shoot poop. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome. Anything else? Okay, thanks.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention. Do we have any other comments or questions from the public? Okay, seeing none, we'll go to council comment.
Good. Kick it off.
Councilman Pepero, would you like to go first?
First, just want to commend all the people we gave our accommodations to tonight. Since all our firefighters left, I'll speak to you, Chief. Thank you for everything that the men and women of your division do. Thank you for everything you do. I know it's a new position, and we're happy to have you, so just please express our thanks to the rest of your division. Thank you. Thanksgiving is coming up, and I guess we won't see each other until December. I just want to say of all the things I'm thankful for besides my family and my health, I'm thankful to the people that are sitting around me. There's no better team, nobody I would replace anybody with, or I would hope that as long as I'm here that all of you are here, and I'm thankful for that. And with that said, Small Business Day is coming up, so take care of our small businesses. They're important to keep going. We can't just have these big corporations here. We need the small business touch to this town. And I hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving, and I'll see you in December.
We love you too, Pat. I was gonna say the same thing about the accommodations. It's, it's amazing how people do react, in a time when people are in need and it's amazing how people, jump into action. You know how our firefighters would be or our police would be, but to see a civilian, put their own life on the line to save another it's pretty heroic. So they all should be commended, people that you read about it from time to time in different areas, just not here in Hamilton. So anybody that's willing to do something like that should be commended. I'm glad we had them accommodations tonight. It was nice on Veterans Day. Not only do I get to see Janice here at a council meeting, but I also see her in the bowling alley. And she throws a pretty good ball, Janice. I was impressed behind the scenes. I was there with my grandkids, but it looked like you were having a good time, so it was good to see you there. Like Pat said, it's Thanksgiving. We probably won't see anybody till December. And, I hope everybody has a joyous holiday with their family and their friends and their loved ones, and just be safe, and hope to see you all soon.
Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you all for coming out this evening. I want to thank also the chief and Henry tonight, and all the firefighters for the work that they do in our town. I also wanted, I mentioned this in the invocation, sometimes it's not only, it shows that we're also an altruistic town and that we give back. It doesn't have to be monetary, but also could be just our spirit of helping others. And so that was definitely seen tonight with the other accommodation that we did for the life-saving event. So just very proud to be a Hamiltonian. Two very impactful events that people stepped up when they were needed most. And just want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you to our veterans out there. Hopefully you have some time with your family, friends, and eat some good food and watch some football.
Speaking of, there's a good game tonight.
Yes. I don't know about that.
So,
I get sleep, yeah.
Here we go.
Go ahead, Rick.
The Washington football team,
Yes.
is that what we're talking about?
The Snyders.
So, I'd like to thank everybody who came out tonight. In the time that I've been on council, it really, it's astounded me how many times I've heard about our first responders saving lives. It's just, the work, the day in, day out work. And so, following Pat's lead, talking about things we're thankful for, I'm thankful for our first responders. Thankful for residents like the ones who stepped up under those extraordinary circumstances. And that's really an astounding thing. When residents who aren't necessarily trained for that type of situation step up, and it really does warmed my heart to see that. As I mentioned earlier, I did spend most of Election Day going from polling place to polling place. And, there are issues. Thank you for pointing out some of those. That there are things that we can improve on. I'd like to thank all the poll workers. I spent a lot of time thanking those folks, the professionalism that they demonstrated under very difficult circumstances on Election Day, keeping things going, reacting quickly to a crisis, and making sure that, voters weren't disenfranchised. So I'm grateful for those folks as well, those folks everyone who works at the polls, anyone who volunteers as a challenger or a poll watcher, are all playing important roles in our democracy. I do think we can improve the signage. I think that's something that, as a town, we can make an investment in some signage. We got a great sign shop. They make great signs, and perhaps we can put them to work making signs for our polling places for future elections. But otherwise, happy Thanksgiving, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you sometime soon.
Thank you, Councilman. It's always hard going last, but I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same. It's really an honor, and in the spirit of Thanksgiving, I also am thankful to work with such great councilmen, the administration, but to live in this town. Been here 17 years, and it still feels like a hometown, and you see our residents stepping up, our first responders stepping up, and as we always say, it's smallest big town or largest small town, but it is true, and it just warms. This is the good part of our job, and we get to recognize our citizens here in town who are doing great service. And also with Thanksgiving, just keeping in mind we do have families in need. I know the Wilson Center is collecting donations. You can visit their website, or even probably onto Hamilton's website has some information on the Wilson collections. Are we aware of any others that we wanted to, I just want to draw attention?
The PB.
The PBA.
The PBA has a goal of, how many folks are you going to feed, Pat?
300.
Yeah.
300 families, yeah. And I believe Wilson's up to about 250 families as well. So anything you can do to help, we appreciate. Reminder too, Thanksgiving, that means we're almost to the holidays, and Winter Wonderland will be coming up December 2nd and 3rd. Seems like it was just yesterday, but yeah, this year has flown by. So thank you again for coming out. As always, thank you for bringing our attention to things that we wouldn't be aware of if you didn't come and let us know. So have a good night, drive safely, and with that, I adjourn the meeting. You're going to be a two-thumber?